I'm not used to being out there, so this is not very fun.
I don't know.
Okay. This is over here?
Yeah. You doing all right?
I'm good.
Good.
You ready for me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
100%. Let's go.
Yeah. Where's this large crowd?
I know this is unfortunate. Unfortunate people like this. It's also this congregation's version of an annual meeting is so pleasant compared to any other that I've ever seen. So what's it like? So my synagogue I grew up in, which also was where I was working, like 6 hours of arguing and like it was awful. It was awful.
It was awful.
Well, it was partially because here it feels like the board has decided this, yay or nay. Yeah, right. Like that's what it is. There, it's like no, everybody's going to argue every single point of, of anything that's proposed. So it's like, what was the point of the board deciding all these things?
So that's where we had the general conversation.
Yeah, so it was. Thankfully, I was not required to be there when I was working.
Yeah.
Chuck, you got the voicemail? You listened to the voicemail?
I did. I was going to send a road with Max, and I think the one he left it was me. So did you.
I'm thankful for the way that it's turned out.
All right. Oh, there's indicate there's no.
Yeah, I saw that on there, but I was like, what is that? I assumed maybe that's what I was seeing. And I was like, yeah. Oh man, normal seat. That's a good one.
You're right. The service is pretty good.
Yeah, it's quite true. And honestly, the weirder thing is I'm not singing very much. Like, I mean, that's not true. I'm singing all the normal things, but like, there are 3 choir.
The Nichols Hoskivani?
Yeah. It's the, like, I wanted to keep in a couple normal things. So it's Hashkavenu, and then Ritze and Shalom are like our normal pieces. Oh, and Ahavata. And obviously, Kiddush, whatever. I guess I'm going to change the 2.
Hey, Chuck, where's your thing? Does Robert have your thing? I know we got 1 minute, but where's what do you want to say? Take a seat. Order. Do you have the used to gavel?
I've never seen it.
I'm gonna do it. We got 1 minute. We're off the record, Larry. I'm just kidding.
So unless there's a really huge surprise, I don't have a notebook on me.
Actually, I think we are on the record. So anything I say, yeah. Anyway. But welcome to the Temple Emanu-El family. It's a lot more kosher now.
Years and years and years ago, Rabbi Miller said, "One of these days we'll get you."
I got it by a disclaimer in the. It was easy. If you vote, you need to be back. It worked out fine. Okay. Very good. Okay.
And then James Henry's off to Jacobs in a week and a half.
He's going to Reform
Dream Street.
For what?
He's doing Dream Street.
What's that?
That's the NIFTY program. It's a camp for kids with spina bifida and other developmental things.
Look at the college resume. Love it.
Okay. I've been doing it since like the 70s.
And then doesn't he go to Ramah? Don't they go to Ramah?
Yeah, then he's going to Ramah for 2 months. Why not?
I know. Get rid of him, right?
Well, he would live in Ramah if we let him. So.
That's good. That's the Jewish summer camp and Israel identity, the two most important things.
Well, 2 years from now, he'll be going to Israel.
Good. Good. Okay, I'm going to call the meeting to order. No, but I got to do the opening invocation, right? Good Shabbos, everybody. What? Okay. I don't have a gavel. Kia. Okay. You missed this? You miss it? You sure? You can bring it back. You miss it? Hal, you miss it? Shabbat Shalom, everybody. 140 years still standing. From 1882 through the early 1900s, this congregation has faced a myriad of different things. And earlier this afternoon, Rabbi Miller and I were reflecting on how this congregation has overcome so much. So it's my great honor as I start my 4th year here at Temple Emanu-El, and Cantor Whitner starts his 3rd year. We're just so pleased to be here, and it's our great honor to welcome the final speech of our incredible president. I know he's eager to get this done, but Robert Berman, please call the meeting to order.
Good evening and welcome to our 2022 annual meeting. I'm Robert Berman and I call our meeting to order. Tonight we celebrate 140 years of Temple Emanu-El serving as our spiritual home. When I stood here 2 years ago, I shared that second to serving my family, serving as Temple President is my single greatest privilege. I thought I knew what I was talking about, but trust me, Charlie, it's bigger than that. I've had the privilege of working closely with our team of professionals. We have gotten to know each other on a personal level. Indeed, they are a group of fine, hardworking people dedicated to make Temple a warm, meaningful, and spiritual space. I've also had the privilege of meeting and getting to know so many of you. I have seen firsthand that what Temple means to so many, how they serve Temple, and how Temple serves them. We have a family here, and everyone is welcome. During the past 2 years, we have benefited from great successes. We partnered with the Alabama Holocaust Education Center in creating their new Highland Avenue home and providing Temple with an additional stream of revenue. Our collaboration efforts with Temple Bethel are stronger than they have ever been. Our outreach committee has spoken to 2/3 of our congregants and have met with more than half of us. We have learned so much from these meetings. Our COVID task force masterfully guided us through the pandemic. We have restructured our staffing, helping each team member reach their full potential. We have rounded out our professional staff with an extraordinary new cantor and our equally incredible new Director of Education. If you've not met Elizabeth, I hope you do so soon. After I agreed to serve as president, Ben Will told me to expect the unexpected. Truer words have never been spoken. I would have never expected that our board would not meet in person for more than a year. I didn't expect a ransomware attack either. Ben also told me that I would hear from just a few of you, and I would hear from a few of the few quite often. Going forward, Charlie's number is 555-8249. Seriously, I appreciate each of you that reached out to me. It shows just how much Temple means to you, and it shows that you care. I am aware that it's dangerous to publicly thank people for fear of leaving someone out. So many have played critical roles in navigating Temple these past 2 years. Our board of directors and our executive committee are deeply committed to carrying forth the mission of our temple. Our Rabbi Grafman Endowment Fund provides critical funding for our congregation for today and years to come. Our clergy and staff work tirelessly to ensure that we have cutting-edge opportunities for worship, programming, learning, and fellowship. On behalf of Temple, I thank each of you. I am, however, going to take a moment to mention and thank a few individuals: Julie Wolfson, Adam Kessler, David Ashkenazi, and Al Cohn. This team of physicians made up our COVID task force. During the past 2 years, our task force has worked thoughtfully, respectfully, and diligently through the constant curveballs thrown by the virus. Our task force continues to meet regularly to ensure Temple remains a safe place for all to enjoy. In the beginning, I did not know what I was asking of this group. They have given countless hours to establish and implement policies with the sole focus of keeping us safe. I must thank our staff here too. Without them, the implementation would have been unmanageable. As our fiscal year comes to an end, we owe a sincere thank you to our outgoing board members, Jeffrey Bear, Al Cohn, and Sharon Goldstein. How many Temple presidents have been fortunate enough to have 3 past presidents on their executive committee? Their counsel has been invaluable. In closing, I share my deepest thanks to all of you. My experience serving as president of Temple Emanu-El has been rewarding and fulfilling. It is truly a view from the pilot's seat. I have made friends and learned lessons to last a lifetime. Shabbat Shalom. Joel?
Shabbat Shalom, and thank you all for the privilege of serving as treasurer for the past 2 years. I am the person who gets to tell the rabbi, I'm sorry, it's not in the budget, you can't do it. Seriously, this has been a changing period for our congregation. We've gone through COVID, we've had a lot of staff changes, and now that we're coming out of COVID, we're facing a new beginning. We're finishing this year with a deficit, the first one we've had in several years. Several reasons for that. Our dues revenue was less than we had budgeted. We had a ransomware attack that we had to deal with. We had to spend increased and unanticipated funds on technology and security, but all of that is in the process moving forward. The good news is we had the funds to manage that in our operating reserves, and at the present time we still have approximately $335,000 in operating funds, a capital improvement fund with $460,000, and our PPP loan was fully forgiven. All of that helped us make it through these trying times. We do have a large capital expenditure coming up this summer. We're replacing the chiller for the air conditioner, which is 20 years old, and that's about a $200,000 project, and that's why it's always the leadership years ago who asked us to create a capital improvement fund was visionary. The good news is we have some additional funds coming from the government through one of the PPP programs that'll make up for those funds that we're going to have to spend. Changes to look for budget-wise next year. We're allocating more money to events and programming, more education programs, greater outreach to younger generations. We're trying to eliminate small charges like charging for the dinners after programs such as this, and we hope to do some significant capital improvements, particularly to the parking area and the old playground area. a number of items that we've historically funded off budget through working with the endowment on a case-by-case basis are now in our budget. We are projecting increased expenses this year. We knew that several months ago, and we reached out to the endowment and asked them to consider an additional funding structure moving forward. They have not made a final meeting on this, but the indications are that they will be responding positively to the needs of the temple moving forward, and we expect to have a balanced budget at a minimum next year and perhaps some additional funding for new programs for the future. With that, I can say in summary, your temple is in good financial condition moving forward for the years ahead, and I'll be glad to answer any questions. Well, then thank you again, and continue. I need to end by saying that the real thank you goes to everyone out here in the audience and watching us on Zoom for their support, and that's what keeps this temple going, keeps our staff employed, allows us to have great professionals. So thank you on behalf of the temple.
Joel, you got off easy. It has been an honor to serve as your Endowment Fund president over the last year. We are thrilled to have weathered over 2.5 years of social distancing and to be together once again. Since our Endowment Fund was established nearly 45 years ago, we have come to count on it to help maintain and enrich our congregation. And this past year is no exception. If you look in your program, you will see the variety of ways that the Endowment Fund supports our temple. Thanks to your generosity and those of the people that came before us, our allocations have increased by nearly $170,000 per year over the last 5 years. We currently are providing funding that accounts for over 25% of the temple's revenue, plus many more enhancements that we have grown to enjoy. Yet, we hope to be able to do more. Speaking on behalf of the 25 members of the Endowment Fund Board, we assure you that you can count on us to work in concert with temple leadership to meet the evolving needs of our congregation. Most recently, our endowment leadership is working with temple leadership to be able to provide additional funding over the next 5 years. Look for more details as our plans unfold. On a sadder note, our longtime executive director, Jan Blitz, has announced her retirement effective later this year. A search committee has been formed, led by Jerry Held, and is actively working to find Jan's replacement. In closing, I'd like to thank those Endowment Fund board members who are rolling off of our board after serving 2 consecutive terms, and they are Gail Baer and Carrie McInerney. And I would like to present the following board members for ratification by the congregation. For a second 3-year term ending in 2025, Becky Gordon, Fran Godshaw, and Andrea Haynes. New board members, also to serve a 3-year term, David Silverstein and Brad Sklar. Once again, on behalf of all the members of our Endowment Fund Board, a sincere thank you for your generosity and support. L'Adore Vador, please know our mission and our commitment is both to ensure a strong temple today and a bright future for tomorrow's generations. Thank you.
For the slate of officers for the Temple Board, officers for a 1-year term, President Charles Collette Jr., President-elect Barbara Ayland, Vice President Adam Gordon. We have a Vice President spot to be filled. Lisa Bebenek as our Secretary, Josh Mandel as our Treasurer, and I'll serve as immediate past President. Coming onto the board new for ratification, we have Ann Oveson, and then re-upping for a second term are David Ashkenazi, Ashley Lewis, and Amanda Sokol. In addition, we have Andy Rotenstrike serves on the board as the Endowment Fund President, Sylvia Wright as Sisterhood President, Stephen Leaf as Brotherhood President, and our presidential appointees for 22-23 will be Joel Piasek and David Silverstein. And again, we thank Jeffrey, Al Cohn, and Sharon Goldstein for their time on the board. Let's see, I'll present the Sisterhood Board as well. President Sylvia Wright, immediate past President Leanne Nomberg, let's see, Vice President of Communications Lisa Bebenek, Vice President of Membership Kim Roth, Vice President of Ways and Means Kim Roth, Treasurer Lori Will, Corresponding Secretary Susan Koretsky, Social Media Chair Ginger Brook, Religious School Liaison Andrea Dyer-Smith, Precious Legacy Chair Cheryl Collat, with members at large Allison Berman, Amy Chauvin, and Sharon Goldstein. And lastly, the Temple Brotherhood Board. Stephen Leaf is President, Mark Mussafer is immediate past, Aaron Nelson is Vice President of Engagement, Jimmy Will is Vice President of Membership, and Treasurer Ben Smith, and members at large David Grease and Bill Goldman.
For all those names that were mentioned, we invite you to come to the bema, and we ask the congregation to rise. All names mentioned, come on up. We have to swear you in. Brotherhood, Sisterhood, Endowment Board, Temple Board, Rabbinic Board, come on up. Page 14. Every generation has been brought to the foot of the holy mountain by its leaders, men and women, a pure heart of shining vision in quest of blessing for humanity. Words came to them, searching for God amidst the storms of life. They heard the still, small voice. Torah and teaching came, was heard, and was transmitted. Through our synagogue, the tradition endures. Because of its leaders, the synagogue lives, and the symbol of that miracle of survival is Torah. Charlie, we ask you to hold the Torah.
Al shlosha devarim, al shlosha devarim, al shlosha devarim, haolam omed, al shlosha devarim, al shlosha devarim, al shlosha devarim, haolam omed, al haTorah ve'al ha'avodah ve'al gemilut chasadim, al haTorah ve'al ha'avodah ve'al gemilut chasadim.
On three things the world stands: on Torah, prayer, and acts of human caring, written from Pirkei Avot. The sages teach us that Moses received the Torah on Sinai and transmitted it to Joshua, Joshua to the elders and the elders to the prophets, and the prophets passed it on to the leaders of the great synagogue. And from that day our Torah has been held aloft by the gentle yet committed hands of the leaders of all synagogues. be they great or be they small. The sages taught the leaders of the great synagogue three things: be deliberate in judgment, raise up many disciples, and make a fence around the Torah. And they did. For over 2,000 years, the Jewish people have been guided by the ancient book. We honor and cherish it as a link with our ancestors and symbol of our faith, saying the words that have bonded the Jews together through the generations, through the centuries. We say it together. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. In the name of Temple Emanu-El, we induct all of you as new board members and officers of this historic congregation. In your assumption of the duties of your office, you affirm the ancient democratic tradition of the Jewish people, that the synagogue belongs to the congregation and serves the community. It is not the private domain of any special group, which has the right to arrogate itself exclusive authority to study, to teach, and to transmit the Torah. Your installation in office testifies to the strength of this tradition. You represent the congregation. We, its members, speak to you and through you. Your responsibility is our responsibility. Our portion is our common destiny and your portion. May the congregation at its highest and best ever speak through you. May the future of this synagogue be safeguarded by your labors and by your loyalty. And together we say, Amen. You have come to the position and honor in the life of our temple, and your hands are placed, affairs upon which the well-being of our congregation depends. Its welfare becomes your special responsibility, the overseeing of its work, your particular task. May the spirit of Jewish life touch your labors, and may the harvest of your service be abundant in the blessing for others and enrichment for yourselves. On behalf of the Rabbi of Temple Emanu-El, for over 140 years, we wish you congratulations and mazel tov, and once more we say, Amen. Charlie, the calm is yours.
Wow, this is real. Oh, you wait. Thank you, Robert. I have a little something for you. I'd like to give it to you now. Welcome to open it. I want you to give you a little something to remember your presidency, as you have done a truly, truly amazing job leading our temple the past 2 years. As you well know, your presidency started in the middle of COVID with everything shut down. Boy, these were strange times. But under your leadership, we successfully navigated the uncharted waters of COVID. We've navigated through the tough times, the uncertain times, and now we get to enjoy the great times. Today we're fully open, vibrant, and back to normal. From me, and from our temple board, and from our congregation, job well done, my friend. As you take time to reflect on your presidency, I truly hope that you are satisfied with everything that you have accomplished as our temple president, as we are also very grateful. To Allison, thank you for loaning Robert to us and for allowing him the flexibility to run meetings and calls from just about anywhere, any day, time of day or night. But now we're turning him back over to you to spoil him rotten. Again, thank you, Robert. Speaking of thank yous, I'd like to take this quick opportunity to thank our clergy team of Rabbi Wright, Cantor Whitner. You two are truly amazing. And our temple is so lucky to have you two as our clergy. I honestly believe that you two are the envy of just about every Reformed congregation across this great country. We struck gold. We've come a very long way since you both joined our temple. The road was a little bumpy. COVID, babies, twins, just to highlight a few of the fun milestones. And now with Temple Emanu-El wide open, the future is so bright with you two at the helm. Again, thank y'all. Along with our outstanding clergy, we truly have the best staff, or as I like to say, the best temple team of all the temples across the country. I'm so excited to have Elizabeth leading our education,
I love to talk with her and listen to her plans and hear her excitement, as I'm willing to bet that our Temple families are going to be, if they're not already, so happy with Elizabeth leading our overall education programs. If you've not had a chance to meet Danielle, our Director of Finance, yet, you're missing a great opportunity. She's truly amazing. She's been keeping us straight for years, and she keeps us in line financially. Great job, Danielle. Many of you know Monica. She's been leading our engagement efforts, and she continues to perform at a very high level for our congregation. And we have Judy, who does an amazing job of working with our clergy. And we have Ben, who works diligently on keeping our facility running smoothly and always looking amazing. For the sake of time tonight, I understand that I have left off a few other names of our staff, but rest assured, the entire team is wonderful and oh so very appreciative. We could not be here tonight without each of you. Thank you to our entire team. You're going to make my job a lot easier. And again, we could not be where we are today without each and every one of you. If you can't tell, I'm lucky. I'm truly inheriting a great team at Temple, and my plan is not to mess things up. Thank you for voting in the new Temple Leadership Board. I know that I'm slightly biased, but I believe this is the best board yet. Just ask me. We'll be ready to hit the ground running on July 1st, so get your track shoes on, because we're going to do some great things. Again, speaking of lucky, I'm so excited to report that our Temple's engagement with our Grafman Endowment has never been better. What you may not have known is that a few of us have been meeting and working for almost a year now on how to find additional resources for our Temple. While the final details are still being worked through, I'm happy to report that next Thursday we are jointly presenting a plan to the Grafman Endowment Board of why and how increase funding for our Temple. This increased funding will not invade the principal. It's vitally important to preserve the principal investment of our endowment. This is a huge win for our Temple. Just to get you a little excited, we're addressing our critical needs with our increased funding. We're going to add additional support staff at Temple. It's our desire to add an events manager. It's our goal to have a vibrant kitchen. Are you excited yet? You should be. Just wait till we unveil our ideas for religious school. And finally, we seek to have more free events like tonight's dinner. Things are going to be exciting at Temple, and I hope you can see that we're planning additional funding for programming, education, social involvement, and just overall engagement. I hope you can tell I'm excited. As I begin to bring my opening remarks to a close, I hope you've heard a phrase that will resonate with you. The phrase is, our Temple. This phrase encompasses you, the congregant, the Grafman Endowment Board, the Temple committees, the staff. My theme for the next 2 years is our Temple. You're going to hear it often in my remarks. The new Temple Board, the staff, our clergy are going to focus on our Temple. So what does this mean to you, the congregant? Well, it's pretty simple. It's time for you to step up, time to get involved, join a committee, lead a committee, be active in our Temple. We need each and every one of you, the ones here tonight, the ones on Zoom, and those reading my remarks. Please get involved. We need you. We need you to read the emails, start to finish, top to bottom. We need you to get on the website, log in. There's so much information on the website. And you're always free to call or email me or anyone on our board. We need you. 2 years from now, I'd like to have a BHAG. What's a BHAG? It's a big, hairy, audacious goal. The goal I want us to achieve is to have over 75% of our congregation, of our families, involved in some fashion of Temple. How cool would that be? The way you get involved is by listening to our congregants. Our Temple has done something that no other congregation has ever done successfully. While I can't prove it, I'm willing to learn if any congregation has done a better job than our Temple's congregational outreach. 2/3 of you know what I'm talking about. We've had over 60 volunteers, starting in the COVID year of 2020, then again in 21, to sit down with 1/3 of our congregation each year. Well, unfortunately, not everyone will talk to us. They did at least receive phone calls and emails, lots of them. Those that chose to participate, thank you. During our time with congregants, we talked about Temple, the good, the not so good, and the areas where we need to improve. We were transparent regarding our temple's finances. We asked for a 3-year commitment of dues. This commitment has been vital in our budget planning for this year and for next year. So thank you all for making a 3-year commitment. This fall, we're going to do year 3, and I truly hope that those contacted will meet our volunteers. We need to meet with each one of you to learn from you. We also have a lot of good stuff to share. I'd like to share one of the ideas that came to light during our congregational visits. We learned that there was a void with the interaction of our interfaith families. What an insight. So what did we do? We formed a temple circle. From what I know, this has been well received from our participants. I hope you can see that we're truly listening. Not all ideas or suggestions will be acted upon, but I hope you'll understand that your voice is being heard. In closing, you can see I have a lot of passion for our temple. Leading our temple for the next 2 years is important to me and my family. My family's leadership started in this temple over 100 years ago with my grandfather, Ben S. Wheel, then my uncle, Leonard Wheel, my dad, Charles Collap, and then my cousin a few years ago, Ben Wheel. Leading our temple is in our blood. Finally, I could not be here today without the total support of my family and from my much better and very patient partner, my wife. Cheryl, thank you for supporting me in my desire to lead our temple, as I'm going to have a lot of fun and a lot of phone calls. And to our congregation, the next 2 years are going to be a blast. Thank you for the opportunity to be your president.
Before we conclude our annual meeting, I was blessed our first year to have Dr. Al Cohn as our president, and I just had him for a year, and it was extraordinary, and he should be recognized for his service to this congregation. But for the past 2 years, I believe that Robert Berman and I had developed a solid friendship. I received many calls from him. Sometimes we disagreed, but through the end, I think our friendship and loyalty always endured. And therefore, it's my great honor to take Robert before the ark, and I'd like to leave him with a blessing because I've never met such a caring person throughout my 9 years of being a rabbi. And Al, both of you both should be up here, but tonight it's for Robert. I'm sure that's okay. But I've been blessed to have such great 3 years of leadership. And Charlie, I know you're going to be great. And 2 years from now, you get the same thing too. So I asked the congregation, it actually says in the Talmud, when there's a new president, it's written, bless his heart in the good way, right? Some jokes. Say that down here anyway. Okay. I ask the congregation to rise. Robert, you have sustained this congregation and brought us to this place of our temple's incredible journey. You've looked out with wisdom from the high ground of years and experiences over the terrain of your tenure. And during your tenure, the past and the future was heightened as a sense of your incredible ability to guide us. Tonight, we celebrate our temple's continued unfolding, and we are still awestruck by the wonder of your commitment to us. And so we pray that kindness and compassion continue to be upon you. Strength and courage may be with you in the comings and goings, and that you continue to learn from and teach those dear to us, and especially what you have taught me these past 2 years. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam shenatan bechokma lebasar hadam.
Yivarechecha Adonai v'yishmerecha
May God bless you and forever protect you.
Ya'er Adonai panav elecha v'chuneka.
May God's face shine upon you and forever be gracious to you.
Yisa Adonai panav elecha v'yasem lecha shalom. Shalom.
And when moments are difficult and whenever you face adversities, may God's face forever lift you up and forever bring you peace. Can hear what's sown. May it be God's will. Amen. Thank you.
Amen.
Charlie, you got to adjourn the meeting now.
We're adjourned.
We got 10 minutes. Get it back. We're on camera. Oh, no, he's done. All right. Ready? Where's Jeff McGuire? He's probably upstairs. Charlie, I don't think we ever voted.
What? You did either. I wondered about that. You just announced him and then initiated.
I could have asked for the house.
Here.
All right, thank you.
All right, enjoy it.
You want me to take that?
Charles, it's for you. I was gonna call you the dose. Trey.
You mind?
No, not at all. Remember, you gotta set the tone of the service. You know, this is a yeah.
Shabbat Shalom, everyone. For this evening's service, we are honoring 140 years of Temple Emanu-El, and in order to do that, we are taking a bit of a trip down memory lane. In tonight's service, we are going to hear some music that spans the whole history of Temple Emanu-El, and in addition to that, all of our readings are going to come from our prior prayer books, the Union Prayer Book and Gates of Prayer. So you may remember some of these readings from days past. We begin with How Lovely Are Thy Dwellings from Psalm 82. Hit it, Jeff.
I guess this is the only service of the year where you can't accuse me that there's too much Hebrew. Okay. Come, let us welcome the Sabbath. May its radiance illumine our hearts as we kindle these tapers. Light is the symbol of the divine. The Lord is my light and my salvation. The light is the symbol of the divine and humanity. The spirit of us is the light of the Lord. Light is the symbol of the divine law. For the commandment is a lamp, and the law is a light. Light is a symbol of Israel's mission. I, the Lord, have set thee for a covenant of the people, for a light unto the nations. Therefore, in the spirit of our ancient tradition that hallows and unites Israel and all the lands and all ages, do we now kindle the Sabbath lights. 120. Who are able, we rise together for our Kiddush 123.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hakafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav meratzavav. את קודשו באהבה וברצון הנחילנו, זיכרון למעשי בראשית, כי הוא יום תחילה למקראי קודש, זכר יציאת מצרים. כי בנו בחרת, באותנו קידשת, מכל העמים, בשבת קודשך, באהבה וברצון הנחלתנו. ברוך אתה אדוני מקדש השבת. אמן.
L'chaim.
L'chaim.
Lord of the universe, we lift up our hearts to thee, who made heaven and earth. The infinite heavens and quiet stars tell of thine endless power. We turn from our daily toil, from its difficulties and its conflicts, from its clamor to its weariness, to meditate on the serene calm of thy presence, which pervades all creation and hallows our life with the blessing of Sabbath peace. Father of peace, bless thou our worship on the Sabbath day. Enlighten our eyes to behold thy guiding power in all nature, from the remotest star to our inmost soul. Inspire our hearts to love thee and to make thy with the law of our life. Grant us comfort in sorrow, strength in trial, and the courage to serve thee in all our ways. May our words of prayer and our unspoken meditations be acceptable unto thee, our Creator and Redeemer. Amen.
Amen.
We turn to page 144.
יתקדל ויתקדש שם רבה, בעלמא דברה חירותי, וימליך מלכותי, בחייכון וביומייכון ובחי לכל בית ישראל. אתה ושירתה, תושבחתה ונחמתה, תמירן בעלמה, ואמרו amen.
For those who are able, we rise together, 146.
המבורך נשיח בחוקיך, ונשמח בדברי תורתך, ובמצוותיך לעולם ועד. כי הם חיינו באורך ימינו, ובהם נחגה יומם ולילה. ואהבתך אל תסיר ממנו לעולמים, ברוך אתה אדוני, אוהב עמו ישראל. שמע ישראל, אדוני אלוהינו, אדוני אחד. ברוך שם כבוד מלכותו לעולם ועד. ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודך, והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך, ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, לחיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אדוני אלוהיכם אמת.
There lives a God. Our sages beheld him when we looked upon to the heavens. There lives a God. Our poet saw him when they looked into the soul. Our people found him in their liberation from bondage. In the wilderness of Sinai they met him. Through long years of wandering they put their trust in him. Through bitter times of oppression they kept faith in him. There lives a God. In love he summoned us to bear witness to him. In love he has preserved us to this day. And in love we declare our Michumocha 158. lie down this night in peace and rise up to life renewed. May night spread us over us a shelter of peace, of quiet and calm, the blessing of rest. There will come a time when morning will bring no word of war or famine or anguish. There will come a day of happiness, of contentment and peace. Praise be the source of joy within us for the night and its rest. For the promise of peace, our Hashkivenu 160. The children of Israel shall keep the Sabbath, to observe the Sabbath throughout their generations as a perpetual covenant. It is a sign between me and the children of Israel forever. Vishamru 162.
Oh
Each of us is in a battleground for the struggle of sacred with profane. At times, the profane seems to win the day. Love and truth are debased. Reason, our chief glory, is turned to evil ends, and the divine gift of compassion lies dormant. We fail to feel the anguish of others, how much we need you, O God, in the days of trial. We need faith to live, faith in your creative power that overcomes chaos and stirs all the life toward a new and better world. We seek you, O God, thereby we grow in vision as we elevate our souls beyond the sordid to the sacred. Your presence is a light piercing through the darkness on our way, lighting our steps, making us see beauty and worth in all human beings. And for those who are able, we rise together for our tefillah 166.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu v'Elohei Avotenu v'Imotenu Elohei Abraham Elohei Yitzchak v'Elohei Yaakov Elohei Sarah Elohei Rivka Elohei Rachel v'Elohei Leah Ha'el Hagadol Hagibor v'Hanora El Elyon Gomel Chasadim Tovim V'Konei Hakol V'Zocher Chasdei Avot V'Imahot U'Mevii Geula Livnei B'neihem Le'ma'an Shemo Be'ahava Melech Ozer U'Moshia U'Magen Baruch atah Adonai Magen Avraham Be'ezrat Sarah Atah Gibor Le'olam Adonai Mechayei Metim Atah Rav Lehoshia Morit Atah Mechalkel Chaim Bechesed Mechayei Metim Berachamim Rabim Somech Noflim Berofei Cholim Umatir Asurim Umekayem Emunato Lishenei Afar Michamocha Baal Geburot Umido Melach Melech Menit Umechaye Umatzmiach Yeshua V'ne'eman atah lehachayot metim Baruch atah Adonai mechayei hametim Atah kadosh v'shimcha kadosh u'kedoshim b'chol yom yahalelucha selah Baruch atah Adonai ha'el hakadosh.
Look with compassion upon thy children, and grant us strength to love and purity of purpose, that we may live together in unity and work together in peace and concord, so that the well-being of all may be promoted, and thy name, O God, be glorified in the earth. And together we say, Amen.
Amen.
We turn to page 174 for our word saying.
Adonai Eloheinu Be'amcha Yisrael U'tefi
Please join me. Grant us peace, thy most precious gift, O thou eternal source of peace, and enable earth to be its messenger and to the peoples of the earth. Bless our country that it may ever be a stronghold of peace and its advocate among the nations. Make contentment reign within its borders, health and happiness within its homes. Strengthen the bonds of friendship and fellowship among the inhabitants of all lands. Plant virtue in every soul, and may the love of thy name hallow every home and every heart. Praise be thou, O Lord, giver of peace. 178.
We take a few moments for silent meditation.
this moment in our service, we take time to think of those in our community, those especially who are in need of healing of body or spirit. We take time to think of Linda Applebaum, Margaret Bell, Harold Zeitlin, Deborah Chargois, Arit Cohen, Karen Edwards, Edward Goldberg, Jeffrey Goldman, Sandra Goldman, Miriam Goldstein, Fran Curry Harrington, Josie Hatfield, Emily Held, Evelyn Held, Donald Himmel, Ralph Holtzman, Corey Kessler, Jerry Lapidus, Ruth Lishkoff, Zane Monlick, Malka Bat Rachel, Susan Schumann, Leslie Simon, Chrissy St. Charles, Don St. Charles, Brenda Weinstein, Kevin Woods, and Edgar Zimmerman. For those with us this evening, if you are thinking of a loved one and wish to share a name out loud, we invite you to do so as my eyes meet yours, or please rise. For those names mentioned out loud and for those names that are still in our hearts, our Misha Berach, our prayer for peace, our prayer for healing, the middle of page 371.
Continue with our Omer game this evening. We are at the 28th day that we are counting, and thus, of course, all of our trivia has to do with 28, the number. All right, so feel free to call out answers. Do not need to raise your hand. There are a lot of people here. All right, so let's start with the non-Jewish, and then we will go to the Jewish couple of things, but the Jewish ones are more factoids than trivia for you. All right, so a standard set of what game has 28 pieces? No. Tiles may be the correct term, or I don't know if I heard it, but it is dominoes. Domino. Okay, I have to do the obligatory. Who is the 28th President of the United States? I have a couple of clues if people need it. The architect of the League of Nations. Yes, Wilson. That kind of gave it away. All right, the atomic number of this transition metal is 28 for our scientists out there. It is a major end product of supernova nucleosynthesis and forms much of the crust of the Earth. Related to iron. It's iron and this other thing. Nickel. That is it, yes. Very nice. Okay, now we're into the Jewish piece. We're keeping it fairly short. Okay, so in Kohelet, or some of you might know it better as Ecclesiastes, but we often call it Kohelet. Kohelet 3, you have probably heard the readings, there is a season for this, and there's a season for that, and there's a season for everything under the sun. There are, in fact, 28 of those seasons described by the author Kohelet. So that's just an interesting little one. And also, finally, the word koach that we often say, Yasher koach, the numerology, that is the number 28 in Hebrew, if you were to sort of use the letters standing in for numbers system. And that's all I've got for you tonight.
I never get an applause, and I brought this 30 years ago. 140 years of tradition and 3 years of Omer. We're almost catching up, okay? For those who are able, we turn to page 570 as we count the Omer.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu al svirat haomer.
Hayom Shona Be'estrim Shehem Arba Shavuos LaOmer. Today is 28 days, which is 4 weeks of the Omer. We should have rose, but we rise right now. 586 Aleinu.
Aleinu leshabeach la'adon hakol lat'it gidula liyotzeh b'reishit shelo asanu kegoyei ha'aratzot melo samanu kemishpechot ha'adama shelo sam chelkeinu kahem bekor aleinu kechol hamonam ba'anachnu koreim u'mishkachavim u'modim lifnei melech malchei hamlachim hakadosh baruch hu benemar v'haya Adonai lemelech al kol haaretz bayom hahu yeh Adonai echad u'shemo echad.
The top of page 593. In nature's ebb and flow, God, eternal law, abides. When tear dim our vision or grief clouds our understanding, we often lose sight of God's eternal plan. Yet we know that growth and decay, life and death all reveal a divine purpose. God, who is our support in the struggles of life, is also our hope in death. We have set God before us and shall not despair. In God's hands are the souls of all the living and the spirits of all flesh. Under God's protection we abide, and by God's love we are comforted. O life of our life, O soul of our soul, cause your light to shine into our hearts and fill our spirits with abiding trust in you. On this Shabbat, we recall the yortzites of Jack Morris Adler, Louis A. Beck, Lily Engel Buchstein, Gary Marshall Cohen, Dr. Calvin Davenport Denny, Betty Rubel Albert, Harry Erdberg, Aletta Filer, Rabbi Joseph Stephen Gallinger, Irvin Lewis Gottlieb, Dave Hess, Rafi Hirsch, Ray Slaughter Jaffe, Moses Krawcheck, Philip C.C. Levitch, Herman B. Ledden, Dr. Martin S. Litvin, Fannie Mae, David Dixon McPhillips, Samuel Meyerson, Max Michael Jr., Dorothy Wolfe Miller, Jacob Minisman, Rose Schwartz Mitnick, Lawrence Mollengarden, David Osband, Dorothy P. Perlman, Lena Pinkerson, Barbara Leah Schimmel, Howard Leonard Schultz, Merle Cotton Schultz, Rosalind Blitz Schulwolf, Sylvia Seidenman, Abraham Sugarman, Ben Lowell Siegel, Bambi Silver, Gertrude Simon, Fanny Slaughter, Mike Slive, John W. Snow, Catherine Steiner, Sam Sundock, Rosa Phillips Wald, Wolf Weinberg, Abraham W. Wolf, and Gustava Esra Zivitz, and our heartfelt condolences in the recent passings of Judy Aylen, mother of James Allen Aylen Spector, grandmother of Dayton Lewis and Leon Aylen Spector, cousin of Dr. Jack Aylen, Robert Aylen, and Dr. Robert Levin, Avery Fierman, grandson of Bobby and Tucci Fierman, nephew of Judy Ladden, McDonald, and Meredith Fierman, Kenny Hanley, friend of Ben Singletary, Ellen Kahn, mother of Elizabeth David, Esther Light, mother of Simona Herring, grandmother of Rose Herring Cobb, and Wesley Herring, great-grandmother of Sidney and Charlotte Cobb, Yaakov Steinman, father of Maria Bertrand. May all their memories forever be a blessing. We rise together for a Mortar's Kaddish on page 598. Yikadal v'ikadash shemei Rabbah, Bioma divrach reoteh v'amlich malchuteh, v'chayachon uv'yomechon, uv'kayet v'kol Beit Yisrael, b'galah u'izman kariv v'yimru.
Amen.
Yehei shmei Rabbah mevarach le'olam olamei al-maya, Yitbarach v'yishtabach hitba'ar hitromam hitnaseh, Vitadar, Vitalev, Vitalal, Shmei Kusha,
Barichu.
La'ela Minkol, Birchata V'shirata, Tushbechata V'nechemata, Damira Mi'oma V'imru,
Amen.
Yehei Shlama Rabba Min Shemaya, V'chaim Aleina V'yakol Yisrael, V'imru, Amen. Osei Shalom B'romav, Huya Sei Shalom, Aleina V'yakol Yisrael, V'imru, Amen.
To give a grateful thank you to our Dr. Jeff McClelland and our quartet for joining us this evening and providing some beautiful music.
We will walk out as we conclude to Adon Olam. You'll go downstairs for our congregational dinner. But one last note, something new in 140 years of tradition, our first ever combined Temple Bethel and Temple Emanu-El confirmation. This year, tomorrow, 9:30 at Temple Bethel. Next year, it will be at Temple Emanu-El. I should also let you know, starting the month of July, services will begin at 10 a.m. instead of 10:30 a.m. Shabbat Shalom.
easy enough.